More businesses are doing their part to take care of the planet by minimizing the environmental impact of their operations and coming up with sustainable solutions. Sanofi Consumer Healthcare General Manager for Australia and New Zealand, Gladys Ambrosio Peters, joins us now from Brisbane, Australia, for more on this advocacy and Filipina International Leadership. Gladys, thank you so much for joining us. Let's start off with the company you work for, Sanofi, which owns such brands as Nature's Own and Australian. How are you implementing sustainable practices from manufacturing to distribution?
Thank you, Rico, and thanks for having me. Actually, we're very proud because Sanofi looks at the total value chain, right? So it starts from the source. We look at partnering with suppliers that also align with our sustainability standards. In our manufacturing practices, we look at energy source and usage. So in our production plant here in Brisbane, we are actually in the process of, installing 1,500 solar panels in our factory. And this will allow us to shift our usage to more renewable sources. Worldwide, Sanofi actually already sources more than half of the electricity it uses from renewable sources. So water efficiency is in place, management of waste and byproducts of manufacture as well. So we are very intentional about the choices that we pursue, around where these will go, whether it's passed on to be processed, converted into fertilizer, and so on.
So Gladys, a lot of factors come into play when it comes to sustainability. But are consumers more aware of what they're buying and who they're buying from?
Well, definitely, and I use the Australian data here because we know that 6 out of 10 buyers actually say, I'm more likely to buy a brand if it has a positive environmental impact. So we know as well that millennials and the Gen Alpha generations are definitely not just aware, but they are insistent that this is important to them. So they choose who they buy from. And if these companies are aligned with their purpose, then there is that loyalty.
And amid these challenging times of rising prices, Gladys, is sustainability still at the top of consumers' minds? Because for many consumers, green products are usually more expensive than the normal ones.
Well, that's a very valid question, Rico, because of course, in times of financial uncertainty and economic distress, the hierarchy will probably shift. And in this case, what we're seeing is that even though the consumers momentarily forget or momentarily deprioritize things such as sustainability in favor of, more pressing concerns of affordability, what we want to bring in as organizations that are taking leadership positions in this space is it has to continue being a focus for us. So even though consumers, momentarily say, okay, that's not my priority now, we need to continue playing the long-term game here. It's for our future generations.
Absolutely. It's for our children's children. I want to talk now about a Filipina at the top of the Sanofi corporate world. Gladys, you are one of a handful of Filipinas who have made it globally. So how were you able to overcome the challenges blocking your way? You've worked in so many cities around the world, and you have been successful in all of these cities that you've worked in.
Well, I happen to love challenges. So if you put a challenge in front of me, I will really want to unpack it. I will really want to lean in, and try to solve it. So I see my career journey as one of taking one brave step at a time as the opportunity presents itself. So my parents supported and enabled me to do my MBA overseas. And that was definitely one major inflection point in my career because it forced me to unlearn. I've come from a very specific context there in the Philippines, and uprooting myself actually allowed me to say, I need to reframe. I need to unlearn so that I can learn again. And every time I've moved cities, that's been a real skill that I've found very useful.
And how competitive is it in the global corporate world these days during this pandemic and the new normal? And what does it take for a Filipina to make it internationally?
Right. So I I would probably say that everywhere you go, there will always be a stage for Filipino talents to shine, right? We are a very creative and resourceful people. And playing the global stage means that you need to have the sensibilities to use these hardwired advantages, right? But at the same time, being able to release whatever cultural baggage you might unknowingly be carrying around. So maybe growing up, there's an inferiority complex, or there are certain beliefs, about third world and so on. You need to, again, unlearn that so that you're able to lead cross-culturally.
Gladys, congratulations on your success, and thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word. Gladys Ambrosio Peters, Managing Director of Sanofi Consumer Healthcare for Australia and New Zealand.